Well, a very warm welcome to the final day of competition here at the FEI Venting Nations Cup in Germany. Marbach playing host to the first leg of the series for 2026. And what a competition we have enjoyed so far. Myself, Nicole Brown, with you for the duration of the afternoon as we look to see who will be crowned not only the leg winners here, but also the individual title winners of the competition. And riders just out there making their final preparations, taking a closer look at Rüdiger Rau's show jumping track. And we'll see the first combination coming forward into the arena in around 3 minutes time, but it certainly looks like it's going to be a good enough finish to what has been a class weekend of competition so far. And in terms of how the competition is shaping up, well, we are set for a blockbuster finish because it all kicked off with a dressage on Thursday, but that leaderboard did shuffle yesterday over the cross-country course, and let's be honest, we are in for a treat this afternoon. It is not over until it is over, and one rail covers the top two. There is going to be a lot of movement on the podium places for the team as well. Michael Young bidding for his 150th international victory going back over the last 17 years, and Fischer Chipmunk FRH, his Olympic champion ride from Paris 2024, looking for a fourth Marbach title to add to his collection as well. They lead overnight on a score of 28.0 ahead of Lara de Liederkerke-Meyer, Chiarado Darville, the horse that she won the Nations Cup Series final on at Buccolo last year, sitting in second, 29.2. Leah Siegel, Van Helsing P, the Austrian combination, who were fifth at the European Championships, rounding out the individual podium. But they are some of the biggest names in the sport. Julia Krajewski has an upcoming superstar with Tallebeck Platinum in fourth, Sofia Schoborg and Goveland in fifth for Sweden. And Sweden actually are the team that have really pressed the hot favourites coming into this competition, Germany, the hardest throughout the week. Germany lead going into the final show jumping round, and actually they have 4 fences in hand, I think, ahead of Sweden. So Germany on 94.8, Sweden on 114.4, then Belgium in the third podium spot at the moment, 115.3, so very little between Sweden and Belgium. Switzerland a couple of fences back in fourth, 125.1, then France and Austria. Wonderful sight of this incredible arena here in Marbach. It's pretty atmospheric. It was great to see so many people out enjoying the cross-country yesterday. There were thousands of crowds out there packed against the strings, looking to see, as I say, some of the best horses and riders in the world. So how does the show jumping stock up? Well, Rüdiger Rau, the course designer, our ground jury back once again, Edith Schlecht-Dortenbecker and Nicola Nicholson for Germany and France, respectively. It is 460 metres. 79 seconds the time allowed. And the first of those combinations that will be hearing the bell ring in just a couple of moments' time. So get yourselves settled in for what is going to be a brilliant afternoon of sport. The Nations Cup has a new feel for 2026, and teams, rather than getting an accumulation of points throughout the season that they carry into the series final in Buccolo, they will actually be needing to qualify for the Nations Cup final in Buccolo in the Netherlands at the beginning of October, and it is the top 10 teams that will qualify, and they will qualify by accumulating points, and it is their best 3 accumulation of points from the legs to count. So big weekend to get points on the board early doors. Angelica Dubak for Switzerland, competing as an individual. The first of 2 rides for Angelica. Comes forward Amour de Chinon on a score of 81.4. Just unfortunately falling foul of both parts of the double. Running in reverse order of merit, largely speaking, bar a couple of multiples jumping out of order. Worked hard down to that water tray on quite a forward distance, carrying those 3 rails down so far. Horses would have all passed a horse inspection in front of the ground jury and FEI veterinary delegate this morning to make sure they were fit and happy and well within themselves after yesterday's cross-country efforts to complete the competition. And there are jumping faults to add for Angelika Dubak. 16 of them in total. 97.4 looks comfortably inside the time. So that sees them complete on a score of 97.4. So now the first of 2 rides for Karen Donkers. She comes forward with Olympic de Muse on a score of 46.5, jumping slightly out of order because this, the first of 2 rides that she has, will also be a key counting score for the Belgian team with Liepheimer van ter Verenhof a little bit later on. Olympic de Muse, 12 years of age, by Vigo Darziel, owned by Jorg Bodenmuller, Joris de Brabander and Karen herself. Really careful through both parts of the double there. Actually jumped in quite big, so had to hold for the second element. Very careful horse. Wants to leave the fences up, although just unfortunately came down on that back rail. So just the 1 rail down so far for Karen Donkers. The time is going to be a little bit tighter than it was for Angelika Dubak. She's going to run into time faults as well. So a total score of 51.7 for one of the most experienced riders in the world of eventing, Karen Donkers. And Olympic de Muse completes with that score of 51.7. Just the 1 rail down. And 1.2 time. So next we turn our attentions to a combination who were actually second after the dressage. Felix Vogt for Switzerland with his Olympic ride Calero. It's a horse that won Longines Le Moulin 5-star back in 2022. They picked up 20 penalties on the cross-country yesterday, just coming out of the water at 8C, which was a real shame and a shock. Otherwise jumped an impeccable round in the cross-country. He's been such a phenomenal horse for Felix. Felix, who won the Nations Cup leg in Avanches last year, rides Frida in the Nations Cup team here this weekend. On that score of 60.4. He's brought forward from the cross-country. 79 seconds the time allowed. I think he's going to be okay. Just sneaks over, in fact. So 0.4 of a time penalty. Thought he was just going to sneak inside, but wasn't quite able to do so.
Time for Felix Vogt.
So 0.4 of a penalty to add for Felix Vogt and Calero. So that time allowed of 79 seconds. I'd anticipate that we would see that changing. The ground jury are able to review it after the first couple of combinations have been. But actually we've had one go well inside the time, but another two just picking up a couple of seconds over, which means that they can't actually change it because they can only tighten it as much as the slowest person has been. And in fact, you can't tighten it if it's already if people have already picked up time faults. Ben Massey, he was the only one not to pick up time faults yesterday, in fact, with Gestüt. Stopped the clock in 6 minutes and 8 seconds, 1 second inside the optimum time, the only person in the field to do so. And actually made it look very, very straightforward. It's a horse that he rates extremely highly by Upsilon. Had a good win in the 4-star in Segovia a little bit earlier on in March. And we'll see Ben a little bit later on. Actually, he's one of the French team riders with his championship horse, Figaro Fonroy. Sits inside the top 10 individually overnight as well. Gestüt just outside the top 10 in 11th place. So this definitely a round that could challenge for a top 10 finish. Time is going to be tight. He's clear jumping, but is going to sneak over the time. 38.4 the total score for Ben Massey and for Gestüt. But it's a very, very good clear jumping round. So 38.4 to add. So now we turn our attentions to the first of our team riders, and it is Leah Siegel, Watermill Giorgio, on a score of 43.8. And again, Leah jumping out of order because she also sits in a podium position with Van Helsing P, who we'll see jump a little bit later on. Sits in third overnight. Watermill Giorgio, her choice of ride, though, for the Austrian team. Austria in 6th place on the team leaderboard. And unlikely to climb unless there would be a disaster for one of the other teams, but they will be picking up very valuable points in terms of aiming to qualify to pop a team into the Nations Cup final in Buccolo later on this year, 1st through to the 4th of October Buccolo runs. She's doing a really good job so far. Is it going to be our first clear round? Comfortably inside the time and comfortably finishes on her overnight score, 43.8. Leah Siegel, Watermill Giorgio give us our first clear round inside the time. And we'll see Leah back a little bit later on with Van Helsing P. I've no doubt that she will take a good amount of value from her first ride round this track, though. Rüdiger Rau, the course designer here for the Nations Cup in Marbach. This venue steeped in equestrian history. Well, the oldest state stud in Germany, 1573. It was awarded its status as state stud. As our latest starter, Camille Guillot and Sunny for Game for Switzerland on a score of 109.0 in 30th position overnight. ballerina to that combination. Does a good job at that water trait. "79 seconds, remember the time allowed." It's been a pretty mixed bag. We've seen some make it look easy, some make it look pretty tricky so far. And another to be picking up time faults here. Camille Guillot, one rail down, and it will be 1.2 time, so 5.2 to add in total, 114.2 is their total score. So, well into the thick of the action here, as Julie Bilquez comes forward with Brindor des Sources on a score of 105.6 in 29th position overnight. There were just a couple of withdrawals to bring you, actually, that of Anne-Sophie Covoe and Skylight for Belgium, Magdalena Zellhofer and Kahuku for Austria, neither of whom will be coming forward to the show jumping. Julie Bilquez, Brindor des Sources had a really educational run across the country yesterday. Had a couple of problems in terms of jumping, but completed. Will no doubt have learned a huge amount from their Marbach experience. Just came quite tight round that turn. Unfortunately caught the back rail there. To be a little bit mindful of the time too. 79 seconds is the time allowed. And they just sneak inside. So 109.6 the total score for them. Just the one rail down for Julie Bilquez and Brindor des Sources. So just the one clear round that we've seen so far.
Begrüßen wir gemeinsam unseren ersten Starter für Deutschland, Leuber und Zucchini.
Next to go, it is the first of our German team riders, and it is currently their drop score. Ben Leuber and Zucchini MN on a score of 71.7. Super impressive in the first phase, this combination. Unfortunately, another to pick up 20 penalties at the water at fence 8. But otherwise had a really good run cross country. And a great producer of young horses. And this 9-year-old by Zucchero, owned by Stadovon Pup eventing horses. Just caught the second part of that combination. He's a big horse. And just nipped it in front. Quite a tight and tricky turn back. That oxer away from the practice area. And just going to run potentially into a time fault. 0.4 to add, plus the 4 jumping, so 4.4 in total for Ben Leuber. And for Zucchini MN. And that sees them go on to a score of 76.1.
Unser nächstes Paar ist hier in der Bahn. Herkules Classico, geritten von Balázs Kaisinger für Ungarn. Our next competitor rides for Hungary, Balázs Kaisinger and Herkules.
Now we go to Hungary. Balázs Kaisinger and Herkules Classico, his Paris Olympic Games ride, on a score of 70.3. Actually jumped clear in the cross country, just picked up time faults. Over Bernd Backhauser's track. This combination, as I say, competed for Hungary at the Paris Olympic Games. Unfortunately, having a couple of early rails here. Combination I would very much imagine we will look forward to seeing at the World Championships in Aachen a little bit later on this summer. He's going to run into time faults here. Just the last to go. And 0.4 of a penalty. I think the final fence has gone too. 0.4 of a penalty for every second or part second they're over. So 6 seconds to add in total gives them 84.7 as a total score. Next to go, we turn our attentions to France. Casanova de Flotte, Sebastian Adz, on a score of 69.2. And this is a counting score for the French team. They're on a score of 156.1, probably a little way off, moving up the order, depending on what happens, of course, to the other teams. But they would have a good buffer in hand. Switzerland and France in 5th. So perhaps not going to see movement in the team competition just yet, but make no mistake, that is coming. Because it is all set up to be a very, very dramatic conclusion to this first Nations Cup leg here in Marbach. Sebastian. Casanova de Flotte. It's good air time over the triple bar. And you've got the 2 verticals before the oxer in the treble combination. Taking quite a nice wide turn round to this oxer, which will cost time, but actually just let the horse understand the question that was being asked. Currently clear, although he's going to run into a time fault or two, I believe. 79 seconds is the optimum. Clears the last, home safely, 0.8 in total. So clear jumping, just 0.8 for time for Sebastian Adz and for Casanova de Flotte. And that will see France go on to a score of 156.9 with 2 of their riders still to jump. Damien Guerin and Ben Massey will be the 2 to look out for the French team. Now we go to Austria, to Katrin Kodem-Hazrati and Renegade, 64.9. Katrin, who was part of the Austrian team at the European Championships at Blenheim last year, jumped a really good clear round cross country on this horse. Helped the Austrian team to finish in eventual 5th place. And unfortunately just picked up 9 penalties for a missed flag yesterday, plus some time faults. Oh, just unfortunately ran down a little bit to the treble combination and fell foul of both the first and the final parts. Katrin had to do a really good job in just getting the horse to come back and listen to her there. To run into it a little time fault or two as well. So currently on the 8 jumping. Clear of the final fence, but 74.9 the total score for Katrin Kodum-Hasrati and Renegade.
Insgesamt 10
And that gives them a
Katrin Kodum-Hasrati
extra 10 penalties to add. So they finish on 74.9. At the moment, sit in around 5th place in the clubhouse. But we've still got a long way to go. Now we turn our attentions to the first of our team Swiss riders. This is Desiree Schmidt and Fairy Tale B on a score of 54.2. Desiree sits in 22nd place coming into the show jumping. And actually, Switzerland were the only team in the cross-country yesterday to record 4 clear rounds in the cross-country. Just added some time faults. Saw a really forward shot to the combination, and I did wonder for a second if she was going to be able to get it back for the second part, but actually the horse responded beautifully. Just used her body, sat up in between elements. Fairy Tale B, owned by Desiree herself. Years of age by Roven. And it's been a pretty quick round actually, so it'll be interesting to see the time, because I think the time is good. The time is absolutely fine, in fact. Just got to leave the poles up. Last to go, Desiree Schmidt, Fairy Tale B. Did the final fence go? I think it might well have done. That's a really frustrating one. The time was good, but just one rail down to add 58.2 their total. So Desiree Schmidt, Fairy Tale B. A worthy drop score. So in terms of changing the team scores, that doesn't do anything to the Swiss team score as things stand at the moment. Now we go to the next of our counting French scores. It is Damien Garim, beg your pardon, Tal de Joseph, on a score of 50.9. Damien will be next to come forward to jump here in what is a very, very impressive arena in Marbach. Brilliant to see so many people here enjoying the action yesterday. Some of the big names in the sport, plus some of the up-and-coming superstars that we'll be watching for years to come. Tile de Joseph, Damien Garin, on a score of 50.9. Again, counting score for the French, who are on 156.9 in 5th at the moment. Tile de Joseph, good round yesterday, clear jumping, 8 time faults to add. So some 20 seconds over the time. Just caught that back rail, which was a shame. Oh, and just the horse sort of guessed at that slightly. Now he's got to really get the confidence back, because it can unravel pretty quickly in the middle of a round, but he's just got to get things back on track. Just ran in a little bit deeper to that triple bar, but in a way that set him up better for the treble combination. While it didn't quite play off in terms of having the rails down, the horse did get a better distance through there. So 2 fences left to go. Probably going to pick up a time fault or 2 as well. And unfortunately hasn't been the round that Damien would have wanted. But they complete on 72.5. Some 5 fences down, plus some time faults, gives them a total of 72.5. So just the 1 clear round inside the time. That comes courtesy of Watermills Giorgio and Leah Siegel. As things stand at the moment, still waiting for our top few to come forward. So not actually much has changed in terms of the top of the leaderboard. But now we go to Katharina Meyer and Aspen T for Germany, competing as individuals. So now we go to Katharina, just waiting for the bell to go. Katharina comes forward with Aspen T on a score of 46.2 in 18th position overnight. This 16-year-old by Kanstako, owned by Monica Tietz. Really set the horse up in a good balance on a good line, and then was able to fire that energy that she'd created into the double combination. Of late rails falling. 54.2 the score on which she's on, and that will drop her a few places down the leaderboard. Time is good, so just the 8 jumping faults to add for Katharina Meyer and for Aspen T, as we're about to start to get into the business end of the competition in terms of the team standing, because those team riders now coming forwards will all count towards the final scores. So let's remind you of how the teams are shaping up. Coming into the show jumping, Germany on 94.8, Sweden 114.4, Belgium 115.3, Switzerland 125.1. So this is the first of the Swedish counting scores. Unfortunately, already 4 to add. Moves Belgium up actually in front of Sweden. So Korpebe and Amanda Starm on that score of 46.1 to start. Sweden, who made history when they won their first ever leg of the FEI Eventing Nations Cup last summer in Strugom. Strugom in Poland, playing host to leg 3 of the series once again this year at the end of June. Just took the last part of the combination as well. And Korpebe, you could see, didn't like to have that fence down. Little shake of the head. So this has moved Belgium ahead of Sweden. Belgium, of course, still have their first rider to go. Oh, the last goes too. So 3 down and just inside the time, 12 jumping faults in total for Amanda Starr and Corpu Bay. And so they finish on 58.1. In terms of the team, that will actually, I think, just move Sweden down a place on the leaderboard. I'll confirm that for you in a second, but Belgium up to second, Germany still out in front, 94.8 in first. But Belgium, we now see the first of their team riders, Valentina Omzon, Maple Valley's Concorde. They were one of the real standout cross-country rounds for me yesterday, actually, this duo. Because on a score of 44.2 that they bring forwards now. And actually, it was a fast round for them. Not overly experienced at the 4-star level, but just 4.4 time faults. Kai Steffenmeyer, chef de keep of the Belgian team. We'll be watching this combination with interest. Just a 10-year-old, owned by Helen Bell, by Royal Concorde, out of a Douglas mare. And still plenty of firepower left after the cross-country efforts yesterday. It's good to see these horses coming out and looking so well in the final show jumping phase. Just got to make sure it doesn't get too forward over the last couple of fences. We've seen one or two pay the price. One eye on the clock. But this would be a huge round for Belgium. And what a huge performance for the future from this young combination. Valentina Omzon, Maple Valley's Concorde, delivering a second clear round inside the time. And a timely one for Belgium as well. They will be thrilled with that performance. A combination to watch for the future, no doubt, on 115.3.
Mit seinem Pferd Astrello für Deutschland.
So, we now welcome Linus Weiss for Germany, competing as an individual, so this doesn't affect the team score. At the moment, it is actually Germany, Belgium, Switzerland, then Sweden for the team standings. Doing a good job so far. Just got in very deep to that Oxa. Unfortunately, again, ran in very deep to the vertical as well. Did get away with it the second time. So, 51.7 the total score for Linus Weiss. And that will drop them a few places down the leaderboard, unfortunately. They should still get a top 20 finish. The last going to. Now we turn our attentions to Nina Schultz and Grand Prix I West.
Nina Schultes, Germany.
Nina, who comes forward inside the top 10 individually, rides as an individual for Germany here on a score of 36.4. So this is a huge round for them. If they're clear inside the time, they will be guaranteed a top 10 finish. Unfortunately, already an early rail. Combination generally pretty reliable in the jumping phases. They were actually 7th here 12 months ago. They did jump a lovely clear round in the show jumping, just a few time faults to add. Nina Schultz just going to pick up 0.4 of a time fault as well. Grand Prix I West comes through the finish to complete, and that will see them just drop a few places on the leaderboard. 40.8 is their total score. But actually, they will go just below Gestar and Ben Massey. They will actually stay ahead of Leah Siegel and Watermills Giorgio. Next to go, it is one of the combinations that is a counting score for Austria. Magdalena Zellhofer and a highlight RZ on a score of 128.5. And this combination did have a couple of problems on the course yesterday, but actually they came home full of confidence, which was great to see. Very much a combination for the future. Oh. And unfortunately, just ran themselves into a little bit of difficulty fitting the two strides in between the first two elements of the treble. Austria in 6th place of the teams in the lineup here, so not having too much of an effect on the team leaderboard. Those rails down. Clear of the last, and it's going to be 0.8 time penalties as well, as 4 fences down. So 16.8 in total for Magdalena Zellhofer and highlight RZ. They finish on 145.3. Now things are going to start to get very interesting, because we see the first of our counting scores for Switzerland. It is Angelika Dubak. We've already seen her once. She now comes forward with her ride in the Nations Cup. It is Philin de Chinon on a score of 50.3 in 20th place overnight. But actually, Switzerland have moved up into the bronze medal position as things stand, into 3rd place on the podium, 125.1, but can't afford a rail to stay ahead of Sweden, who have now just moved back up into 3rd. Yet to see any of our counting scores for Germany. Philin de Chinon finished 4th in Bretoni last year with a 4-star long format and a clear round in the final day of that competition. Be interesting to just keep an eye on that time as well. I think it's good. 1 rail down, although the last looks like it's gone as well. Lika Dubin-Duchinon. Frustrating for the final fence.
8 jumping penalties.
So 8 to add in total, 58.3. And that sees her just drop down the leaderboard slightly individually. But it also means that in terms of the team standings, we currently have Germany 94.8, all 3 riders still to jump. Belgium 115.3, 2 riders left to jump, including this lady. Sweden in third, 126.4, so they've got a couple of rails in hand of Sweden. And then Switzerland are now more than a rail behind Sweden in fourth. So, Karen Donkers, Liepheimer van der Verhoef. Belgium 115.3. They have 2 fences in hand of Sweden, but they would dearly love to put a little bit of pressure, just in case, on Germany, who are well clear at the top of the leaderboard. Karen, who rode this horse at the Olympic Games in Paris, managed to create herself a little bit of room through that combination. Already had 1 round with Olympic de Muse, had a rail down that was a little bit over the time. Horse had just 1 rail down across 2 rounds on the final day in Paris at the Olympic Games, 41.9. Comes to the last, she clears it. That is a brilliant round for Belgium. They've put 2 superb clear rounds on the board so far. But Karen Donkers and Liepheimer van der Verhoef have done all they can do. 41.9 their total score. It should see them climb up into a top 10 finish, I would imagine, individually. But importantly, it is going to give Belgium a little bit of breathing room. They still have Lara de Lieder-Kirkemeyer left to go. And Lara will have a couple of rails in hand to keep Belgium in second. Felix Vogt now, Frida. His ride from the European Championships at Blenheim last year. Felix, master at riding under pressure. 39.6 the score that he brings forward. And Switzerland are sitting in fourth at the moment, just over a rail behind the podium. Sweden still have 2 of their team riders left to go, so a clear round would put a bit more pressure on the Swedish team as well. Penultimate fence has gone. So, just the last, and he's safely inside the time as well. 1 rail down for Felix Vogt, and that will see him complete on 43.6. Frida will be just outside of the top 10 individually. But even so, that now puts Switzerland on 137.0. And it gives Sweden a couple of rails to stay on the podium. So now we go to Ben Massey and Figaro Fonroy. This is the horse that he rode to a top 10 finish at the European Championships in Blenheim, but also helped the French team to a team bronze on a score of 36.0. Ben already had a lovely clear round with Gestüt, just a fraction over the time. This horse would surely be one that Ben would dearly love to take for a trip back here to Germany in a few months' time. World Championships in Aachen. He had a great ride at badminton as well, finished inside the top 10 with Palau de Furl just a week or so ago. Time is going to be pretty tight again. Ben Massey, Figaro Fonroy, comes to the final fence, sneaks over the time, 0.8 in total to add. And Figaro Fonroy will complete on 36.8. Does go to the top of the leaderboard. And so guaranteed a top 10 finish, goes ahead of his second ride, Gestüt. So we'll have both of his rides inside the top 10 here, Ben. And has jumped 2 lovely clear rounds in the show jumping just with a bit of time. Now this lady came out on course yesterday morning and made it look very straightforward, second out the start box. It was far from straightforward. But she is one of the top jockeys in the world. Nadjaminda comes forward with Top Jobs Jalisco. This horse was on the podium in the Nations Cup in Avanches last summer on a score of 35.2. Just 2.8 time penalties to add to their dressage score. And again, it's a counting score for the Swiss team. Although that gap to the podium just extends a little further. Rattled the first part of that combination, but it stayed, and sometimes you just need a little bit of luck on side. Top Jobs Jalisco, very much a horse that has come up through the Nations Cup programme. It's been a huge part of his experience over the last couple of seasons. Toblerone nudges top ride, who she took to badminton last week, 19 years of age now. That's a real shame. Inside the time, just about. So 8 jumping for Nadjaminda. Top Jobs Jalisco sees her finish on 43.2. Going to drop her 5 places down the leaderboard. And notably, it extends the gap between Sweden and Switzerland. So, as we head into the final couple of riders for Sweden, they sit on a score of 126.4. They now have 3 fences in hand. In fact, 4 fences in hand. They've still got 2 riders to go. And Sweden are on a score of 126.4. Switzerland locked in on 145.0. Their score now won't change. Here come the winners of 12 months ago. Louise Romaika and Caspian 15. There's a horse who took this title last year. Marbach is a venue that has traditionally been really dominated by German riders who've taken all but 3 of the runnings of this class going back to 2008. But actually, 2 of the international winners have come in the last 2 years. Sweden won it 12 months ago with this duo. France won it in 2024. Astier Nicolas Babylon de Gamma, his 5-star campaigner. And Caspian 15 would be a horse who has plenty of admirers on the circuit. He's such an extravagant jumper. He's an extremely flashy mover as well. Louise, a brilliant producer of horses, as well as a top-level competitor. Boyd Martin's Commando 3, who has had so much success at 5-star level with over on US soil, was actually produced by Louise up to the 3-star division. And Caspian 15 shows all of his class, just sneaks inside the time, stays on 34.4. Clear round number 3, and it goes to Sweden. So Sweden creep closer to a podium finish here. They stay on 126.4. They've got Sophia Schoborg left to jump as we are about to welcome the first of our German combinations into the arena. Germany have all three of their counting scores inside the top 6. They're on a score of 94.8, so there's a good buffer back to Belgium on 115.3, but they do have all three riders left to jump. 33.9 for our pathfinders in the dressage and the cross country. This combination have been top 10 at Kentucky 5-star. Labissa still actually eligible for the Under-25 World Championships, which will be taking place in Mill Street at the end of July. She's been a regular feature on Senior Nations Cup teams for Germany, in particular over the last couple of seasons, and would no doubt fancy her chances as well of possible selection for a home World Championships in Aachen. This horse has a wonderful story, homebred by the family. Academia. Labissa based in Werendorf. Trained for a long time and was mentored by her teammate here, actually, Yulia Krajewski. Ooh, saw a bit of a flyer and unfortunately paid the price. Just came down on the back rail to the penultimate fence. Time is good, so just the one rail to add. 37.9 the total. So that will take Germany on to 98.8. Still a good bit of buffer.
And our last competitor,
so
representing Sweden,
it means that Louise Romaika Caspian 15 is the leader in the clubhouse. Still plenty of big names to go. But now we turn our attentions to Sweden. Sophia Schoborg, 33.9. Sweden on a score of 126.4. They're a couple of rails off Belgium in second, but they are some 4 rails ahead of Switzerland in fourth. So barring disaster, can secure themselves a place on the podium here. Sophia, who's been a massive part of the Swedish team over the last few years. She's still only in her 20s, and yet she's been a familiar face on championship teams for Sweden, going back at least over the last sort of 5 or so years. And Govalant certainly bred for the job. Full sibling to Oliver Townend's Kentucky winner, Cooley Rosalind. She's by Valent. He is by Valent out of a mare called Bellany Jewel. Also, same lines as Julant, who is now campaigned over on US soil by Philip Dutton. So 1 rail down, coming down the final line for Sweden to finish on the podium here. There's going to be a time fault, but 38.3, good enough for Sweden to take at least third. Here, good points on the board for the Swedish team. 38.3 the total score. 4.4 in total to add for Sophia Schoborg and Govalant. And that will see them finish inside the top 10 individually as well. So 4 combinations left to jump. 2 for Germany, 1 for Austria, 1 for Belgium. Germany looking to wrap up a home Nations Cup victory here. They won the 2025 series. Can they get their title defence off to a flying start? Tullabeg Platinum, been very impressive in all 2 phases so far. Julia Krajewski, of course, the 2020 Olympic champion. Just 5 seconds over the time in the cross-country. This 12-year-old by Dignified van Zorgvliet was actually produced up to the 4-star level by Jan Matthias before Julia took on the ride a couple of years ago. 32.9. The clubhouse leader, Louise Romaika, Caspian 15, 34.4. Germany have got some fences in hand ahead of Sweden. To be exact, they've got 4 across 2 riders. Just the last to go. The clock is good. Yulia Kraevsky. What a lovely round from this horse. He's looked so impressive in all 3 phases. She finishes on 32.9. She will be no worse than 4th. She gives us clear round inside the time number 4. And she inches Germany closer to a home win here in the Nations Cup. She's a former Marbach winner herself, took the title with Fisher Chipmunk FRH actually in this division back in 2018. So Yulia Kraevsky, the one to beat, 32.9, now into the podium. Germany still on a score of 98.8. Belgium 115.3, they have 1 rider left to jump. Sweden guaranteed 3rd at least, 130.8. Leah Siegel though. For Austria, Van Helsing P on a score of 32.1. If she jumps clear, she guarantees herself a podium finish. She puts the pressure on. Lara de Liederkerke-Meyer and Michael Young. Leah, who made history at the European Championships at Blenheim last year. Became the highest placed Austrian rider at a championships on record, finished in 5th place at Blenheim. Fortunately, that rail is going to cost her a few places on the leaderboard. Yulia Kraevsky will be 3rd at worst now. She stays in the top 5. Clear of the last. Time is good. Just the 1 rail down. 36.1 for Leah Siegel and for Austria with Van Helsing P. So she'll guarantee herself a top 5 finish, but isn't going to be a podium finish here in Marbach in 2026. So 2 to go. We've got Lara de Liederkerke-Meyer, Chiarado Darville, the last rider to go for Belgium. She's on a score of 29.2. Belgium have some 3 fences in hand to stay ahead of Sweden. So to keep in 2nd place on the team podium, Lara must have no more than 3. To put the pressure on Michael Young, she needs to jump a clear round. Chiarado Darville did exactly that last year when on his way to winning the Nations Cup Series final in Buccolo. And I have to say, it's wonderful to see Lara riding here today. She had a pretty heavy fall off La La Land Darville yesterday afternoon in the cross country. But she is a seriously, seriously tough cookie. She knows this horse inside out. By Diorado, out of her wonderful mare Nooni Blue, who actually she competed in this class here in Marbach back in 2008. She was her young rider horse, the horse that really shaped Lara's career. Now, you would have thought she shaped Lara's career in terms of giving her that first experience at the top level. Little did we all know at the time that she would go on to breed a dynasty of wonderful, wonderful event horses, including a 5-star winner in Uni Darville. Just took that rail. And I think the final fence is gone as well. So 2 down for Lara de Liederkerke-Meyer. And Chiarado Darville, 8 to add in total. The time was good. It will mean that she drops down into 5th on the leaderboard. Will be no worse than 6th. Belgium do secure the top spot. The second place spot, I should say. They will be no worse than second. We still have, of course, this man to jump for Germany. So as things stand at the moment, it is Julia Krajewski who leads the individual competition ahead of Louise Romaika and Leah Siegel. And the team standings, Germany 98.8 ahead of Belgium and Sweden, who are locked in second and third at the moment on their scores. So, Michael Young, Fisher Chipmunk FRH. A man who has over 170 international victories in his eventing career. Fisher Chipmunk FRH, a three-time winner of this class here in Marbach. Won it for the first time with Julia Krajewski, actually back in 2018. He went on to then join Michael Young's string in 2019, and they have since become one of the most formidable partnerships in the sport. Michael, a three-time Olympic champion. He's on a score of 28.0. He has actually got a rail in hand to take the individual title here. Julia Krajewski on 32.9. He's on 28.0. Keep an eye on the clock, but the clock looks good. 79 seconds is the time. He cruised around the cross country yesterday. Just the last to go. He's shown his class once again. It is international win number 27 for Fisher Chipmunk FRH. And it is a 10th victory here in Marbach for Michael Young. What a venue this place has been for this man. He took his first top-level win of his career here back in 2005. And 21 years later, he makes it 10 wins in this class. Quite an extraordinary story. We've been able to watch some of the best. They made it look very, very easy. Was it ever in doubt? They led the dressage. They were clear cross country with a few planned time faults, it should be said. And a beautiful clear round on the final day for a convincing win. It is a German 1-2. Here in Marbach, Michael Young wins. Julia Krajewski takes second. What a horse Tullebeg Platinum looks for her. Louise Romaika, winner here 12 months ago, finishes on the podium once again. Leah Siegel, Van Helsing P in fourth for Austria. And Ben Massey, 2 inside the top 10. A little bit further on down the leaderboard, Leah Siegel, Watermills Giorgio, the highest placed of the Austrian team riders. Karen Donkers, also 2 inside the top 17. Brilliant weekend for her. Little bit further on, and didn't quite all go to plan on the cross country for a couple of these combinations, but we'll look forward to seeing them back here in the future. It has been the most phenomenal weekend of sport here in Marbach. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have, because we have seen a masterclass. We've seen why they are one of the best combinations in the world. Michael Young, Fisher Chipmunk FRH, led the dressage. They led the cross-country, and they've come back and delivered under pressure to jump the most immaculate clear round here on the final day. And they have led the German team to a win in the first leg of the 2026 FEI Eventing Nations Cup competition. Germany taking the top spot at 98.8. It was a very convincing win as well, ahead of Belgium, who'll take second on 123.3. Sweden in third, 130.8. Switzerland in fourth, 145.0. Things didn't quite go to plan for them in the show jumping today. France in fifth, and Austria in sixth. But a convincing win for Germany, a convincing win for Michael Young. As I say, his 10th victory here in Marbach. It has been a place of so many successes in his career, and I'm sure it's going to be the venue that we'll see him succeed on in many more occasions to come. But it has been something quite extraordinary. We hope that you have enjoyed it as much as we have. Nicole Brown with you every step of the way as the Nations Cup Series rolls on. In just a couple of weeks' time, actually heads over to my side of the water, to England. goes to Devon to Bicton International Horse Trials, where leg 2 will be held. Then Poland plays host to leg 3 at the end of June, before Switzerland, Avanches, hosts leg 4. Then there's a little break. There's a certain World Championships for both under-25s and senior riders in the middle to look forward to, before leg 5 of the series goes to France, Lignières, at the end of September, and then the all-new look final at Buccolo. Beginning of October 1st through to the 4th of October 2026, the top 10 teams qualifying from the Nations Cup legs will be lining up back on zero. It will be a straight shootout at the series finale. It is going to be a brilliant year of FEI Nations Cup competition. We hope that you will be along for the ride with us. But for now, here in Marbach, we have seen something very special. Not only a convincing win for the 2025 Series champions Germany, but the Olympic champions. Michael Young, Fisher Chipmunk FRH, delivering yet another Marbach victory. Do stay tuned. We'll be bringing you the live prize giving in a few minutes' time. But if you've tuned in throughout the weekend, then we've been delighted to have you with us, and we'll look forward to you welcoming you back in the next few weeks as well. But for now, do stay tuned for that prize giving. Something pretty special has just unfolded here in Marbach. now we welcome back our top combinations forward for the prize giving. And before we hand you over to the live announcers for the prize giving, our winners: Michael Young, Fischer Chipmunk FRH, owned by Joachim Young, Klaus Fischer, Sabine Fischer, and the Deutsche Olympiad Committee. 18 years of age, his 27th international victory. In second place, Yulia Kraevsky and Tullebeg Platinum on 32.9. Louise Remarque, winners here 12 months ago, and Caspian 15 take third. Leah Siegel, Van Helsing P fourth for Austria. Ben Massey and Figaro Fonroy are fifth for France. Chiarado Darville, Lara de Liederkerke-Meyer in sixth. Labissa Lubica, Karamia FRH in seventh. Sophia Schoborg and Goveland eighth. Ben Massey in ninth. Nina Schultz in 10th. Germany take the series opener here in Marbach, led by this man, the Olympic champion. And we'll leave you with the official prize giving.
Einige von uns sind seit über 15 Jahren dabei. Das zeigt, was wir für einen tollen Teamzusammenhalt haben und wie viel Spaß uns das hier alles macht. Wir freuen uns auf jeden Fall schon mal auf das kommende Jahr. Ebenso möchten wir uns bei den Vertretern der FEI, Molly Day und Lola Ele, bedanken, dass sie die letzten Tage hier mit uns verbracht haben. Und nun geht es los mit der Siegerehrung, der Einzelwertung des CCEO 4 Sterne. Die Geld- und Ehrenpreise hier wurden gegeben von der Firma iWest sowie dem Ministerium der ländlichen Raum. Ebenso danken wir den Firmen Uwex und Hagen-Kelverer und Klaus-Peter Kaiser für die Stiftung weiterer Ehrenpreise. Ja, der Preis der Firma iWest. Hierzu begrüßen wir ganz herzlich den Geschäftsführer Matthias Meyer. Die Firma iWest entwickelt und produziert seit 1987 qualitativ hochwertige Diät- und Ergänzungsfuttermittel für die Pferde von Sport- und Freizeitreitern. iWest ist dabei Ihr kompetenter Ansprechpartner bei allen Fragen zur individuellen Fütterung Ihres Pferdes. iWest gratuliert dem heutigen Siegerpaar und allen Platzierten zu ihren Leistungen und großartigen Erfolgen in dieser Prüfung. Außerdem haben wir unsere Ehrenpreise von Uwex. Protecting People. Das ist die Mission von Uwex. Bei der Fertigung von Reithelmen und Reithandschuhen setzt das Unternehmen mit Sitz in Bayern neue Maßstäbe in der Welt des Pferdesports. Ob im Parcours, Viereck oder Gelände, mit den Produkten von Uwex sind Reiterinnen und Reiter in jedem Moment perfekt geschützt. Leidenschaft für sportliche Performance treibt das Team von Uwex an. Das Fertigungs-Know-how beruht auf jahrzehntelanger Erfahrung und stetiger Weiterentwicklung. Auch die neue Helmnorm erfüllen die Produkte mühelos. Neue Norm schon längst Standard im Hause Uwex. Jedes einzelne Produkt wird in Deutschland designt und entwickelt für kompromisslose Performance. Nicht ohne Grund vertrauen Top-Athleten wie Daniel Coyle, Ingrid Klimke, Rolf Göran-Bengtsson und Laura Collette auf die bewährten Uwex-Produkte. Uwex Equestrian, worn by athletes, made in Uwex, made to perform. So, die Reiter dürfen bitte absteigen. Gut, dann legen wir hier los auf mit dem 8. Platz für Schweden Sofia Sjöborg und Govalent. Auf dem 7. Platz Debussa Lübecke und Cara Mia. Auf dem 6. Platz Chiarado Darville und Bardelita Kerke Meyer für Belgien. Auf dem 5. Platz Figaro von Roy und Benjamin Massier, Frankreich. Auf dem 4. Platz Van Helsing und Lea Siegel für Österreich. Und auf dem 3. Platz nun Luise Romeike für Schweden und Caspian. Auf dem 2. Platz Tullerbeck Platinum und Julia Krajewski Deutschland. Und unser Gewinner in der CCO 4-Sterne-Prüfung individuell Fischer Chipmunk, Michael Jung, Deutschland. Bitte erheben Sie sich nun für die Hymne für Deutschland. So, nun bitten wir die Reiter und Reiterinnen natürlich noch zur Ehrenrunde hier im Stadion des Haupt- und Landgestütes Marbach. Herzlichen Glückwunsch, Michael Jung-Fischer-Chipmunk, Julia Krajewski, Tullerbeck Platinum und Luise Romeike mit Caspian. Meine Damen und Herren, gleich geht es hier weiter mit der Siegerehrung für den FEI Eventing Nations Cup. Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the prize giving of the FEI Eventing Nations Cup here in Marbach. In Team Germany we have Fischer Chipmunk, ridden by Michael Jung, Tunabeck Platinum and Julia Krajewski, Karamia and Debussa Lübecke, Zucchini and Ben Leuver with their chef d'équipe Dr. Annette Wilwolf. Team Belgium is Lara de Wiederkerke-Meyer and Chiarado Darville, Karin Dompers, Leipheimer van Weerhof, Valentine Ensens and Mabel Davies Concord, Anne-Sophie Köbel and Skylight and their chef d'équipe Kai Steffen Meyer. Team Sweden, Louise Romeike mit Caspian, Sophia Sjöborg and Government, Amanda Stam and Kolpobe, and Frida Andersen, Stonehaven's Baby Blue, their chef d'équipe Frederik Bergendorf. And we introduce the presenting party, the FEI representative, Molly Day, Director of Eventing and Driving. In third place, Team Sweden. in second place. Team Belgium. And in first place, Team Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Germany. And now, the La Corona for our winners. Congratulations to Team Germany. Team Belgium, Lagerstädter Vermeier, Karin Donker, Valentin Emden, Anne-Sophie Kübel. And Team Sweden, Louise Maike Sofia Stewart, Amanda Stan, Peter Andersen. And once again, clap your hands for Team Germany. Kommen wir nun zur Siegerehrung des Berufsreiter-Championats im Rahmen der CCIU 4-Sterne-Prüfung.
Annika, ich lass dich da. Du kommst jetzt da Hanna her zu mir.
Bundesvereinigung der Berufsreiter im Deutschen Reiter- und Fahrerverband e.V. ist die bundesweite Interessenvertretung aller Fachrichtungen im Beruf Pferdewirt. Mit ihren über 4.500 Mitgliedern ist die BBR die stärkste Fachgruppe des DRFV. Ziel der Bundesvereinigung ist die Verbesserung der Ausbildungsniveaus im Reitsport nach den Regeln der klassischen Lehre und die Stärkung des Ansehens der Berufsausbilder in der Öffentlichkeit. Darüber hinaus nimmt die BBR Einfluss auf die Ausbildung und Prüfung des Berufsnachwuchses. Besonderes Anliegen der BBR ist die Förderung der artgerechten und verantwortungsbewussten Haltung und Ausbildung des Pferdes als praktizierter Tierschutz. Vor allem das große Angebot an Fortbildungsmöglichkeiten dient der Förderung berufsständigen Wissens. Besonderen Raum im Rahmen der Öffentlichkeitsarbeit nehmen die Championate der Berufsreiter ein. Sie haben Vorbildfunktion als Ergebnis guter Ausbildungsarbeit von Reiter und Pferd. Teilnehmer der Championate der Berufsreiter sind geprüfte Pferdewirte und Pferdewirtschaftsmeister. Optional die Ausbildung zum Pferdewirt dauert grundsätzlich 3 Jahre und erfolgt im dualen Ausbildungssystem, das heißt im Betrieb und in der Berufsschule. Frühestens 2 Jahre nach der Abschlussprüfung und der Tätigkeit als Pferdewirt kann die Pferdewirtschaftsmeisterprüfung abgelegt werden. Deutsche Championate der Berufsreiter finden statt in den Disziplinen Dressur, Springen und Vielseitigkeit. Seit 2003 findet das Deutsche Championat der Berufsreiter Vielseitigkeit hier bei uns in Marbach statt. Als Vertreter haben wir hier Uli Rupp und als Mitglied der Vorstandschaft Markus Lemle. Auf dem 3. Platz kommt hier Libussa Lübecke mit Karamia. Auf dem 2. Platz sehen wir Julia Krajewski mit Tulabek Platinum. Und der 1. Platz geht an Michael Junge und sein Fischer Chipmunk. bitten wir auch hier noch zu einer Ehrenrunde im Galopp. Herzlichen Glückwunsch an Michael Junge und Fischer Schiffmann, Julia Krajewski, Tulabek Platinum und Libusa Lübecke mit Karamia. Nun haben wir nochmal eine Siegerehrung hier vor uns, und zwar ein Teil der CCIO 4-Sterne-Prüfung ist auch der U25 Förderpreis. Der U25 Förderpreis, eine Serie über ausgewählte CCI 3 Sterne bzw. neu auch nationale Vielseitigkeiten der Klasse MS und S und 4 Sterne Prüfungen, ist eine gemeinsame Initiative von Professor Dr. Bernd Heike und dem DOKR, um den Nachwuchsreitern den Übergang in den großen Sport auf dem 4-Sterne-Niveau zu erleichtern. An die besten 3 für Deutschland startberechtigten Reiter dieser Wertungsprüfung werden durch den Förderer, Herr Professor Dr. Bernd Heike, folgende hochwertige Ausbildungsgratifikationen überreicht. Hiermit wird den Reitern ermöglicht, zusätzliche Trainingsmaßnahmen zu finanzieren. Wir bedanken uns auch im Namen des DOKR-Ausschusses Vielseitigkeit bei dem großzügigen Förderer, Herrn Professor Dr. Bernd Heike, und wünschen diesen erfolgreichen Nachwuchsreitern weiterhin viel Erfolg im Vielseitigkeitsspitzensport. Hier gewinnt Libusa Lübecke mit ihrer Karamia. Auf dem zweiten Platz Linus Weiß und Astrello. Auch hier bitten wir natürlich nochmal um eine Ehrenrunde im Galopp. herzlichen Glückwunsch hier an Libussa Lübbecke und Linus Weiß. Nun kommen wir zur Landesjugendschärfe hier beim Haupt- und Landgestüt Marbach, gesponsert von Rupert Plersch von der Firma Kältetechnik Plersch. Nun gebe ich das Wort ab an Holger Sondheim.
Ja, liebe Reiterjugend hier in Marbach, es ist toll, dass ihr hier eine Bühne bekommt bei der internationalen Vielseitigkeit und das auch noch beim Nationenpreis. Ich habe mich gerade mit allen unterhalten, es hat allen toll Spaß gemacht. Ich habe dann gefragt, wer will mal die 4 Sterne reiten. Es waren die einen und die anderen. Sie konnten sich noch nicht festlegen, mit welchem Pferd, aber das kommt von ganz alleine. So, wir fangen an, alle werden platziert. Das heißt, Rang 27, Don Pilgrim und Janne Schmid. Fangt mal rechts an. Rang 27. Rang 26 an Nuomi und Merlin Eckermann Poppenweiler. Rang 25 an Liam und Mia Elisa Emsberger Moosbeuren. So, weiter geht's mit Südbaden, RV Dreiländereck, Ida Maria Lukas und Belcanto vom Röttlerhof. Rang 23, Cassiopeia und Marie Ehinger, Rilasingen-Worblingen. Rang 22, Junik und Lina Spraul. Ottenhöfe. Und daher kommt auch Emilia Mane Feisel und Bourbon Flip. Hannes Eigner, Western Rose, Rang 20. Der Hahn im Korb. Vereinskollegin Janne Schmid, 19. mit ihrem anderen Pony Sandsturm. Es geht weiter mit Oberschwaben. Vom AV von Unhofen, Ellen Jele mit Bellino. Und wieder Rilasingen-Worblingen, Lea Haschke mit Bambucha. Rang 16, Ottenhöfe, Marie Hofer und Noemi. Katharina Stahl aus Schwäbisch Gmünd mit Jaisa, Rang 15. Rang 14, Omara und Maria Hofer, Ottenhöfen. Rang 13 an Denny Kuhl und Ocean Maya Krämer, Ichenheim. Candyman WE, 12. Platz, Jule Weiß, Stuttgart-Bodnan. Der 11. Platz geht nach Ulm-Göglingen an Leni Weicher und Kleiner Donner. Rang 10 nach Südbaden an Niagara und Sophie Heiden. VPS Medizin und Partners. Rang 9 an einen Schimmel Impi Limpi und Leonie Benz, Ottenhöfe. Rang 8 an Kandinsky und Nora Etter, Jettingen. Levello auf Rang 7 mit Isabel Weiß aus Osweil. So, Rang 6 an Ina und Lina Spraul, Ottenhöfen. Rang 5 nach Oberschwaben, Anna Langhörig und Very Special für Halbertingen. Rang 4 geht nach Nussdorf, der Rang 3 auch, nämlich an Lena Sophie Haller mit Creston und ihrem Zweitpferd Danger. Der 2. Platz an Matthäa Sauter, Reitclub Beint Perligno. Und der Sieg geht nach Schopfheim an Samina Glatt und Coco. So, kurz für die Zuschauer. Sie sind alle mit der Theorieprüfung gestartet. Dann kam ein Ausdauerlauf mit 2000 Meter. Dann Dressur und Springen am gestrigen Tag, das zählt vierfach. Und heute noch das Vormustern, das zählt einfach. Und das Gelände fünffach. Und das alles zusammen gibt dann die Punktsumme, die einfach von 42,5 bis 123,8 Punkten geht. Und wir hatten natürlich auch viele Teilsieger. Die Siegerin Samina Glatt hat das Springen gewonnen mit einer 8,5. Matthäa Sauter hat das Vormustern unter anderem gewonnen mit einer 9,5. Wiederum Lena Sophie Haller war in der Theorie mit einer 10,0 ganz vorne. Und Anna Langhörig hat im Vormustern und in der Theorie geglänzt mit 10,0 und 9,5. Aber wie gesagt, das Reiten kommt noch dazu. Und jetzt noch kurz, warum es diese Prüfung gibt. Diese Prüfung gibt es auf Bundesebene und auf Bundesebene hat diese Prüfung lange Jahre unsere Hanna Rogge begleitet als Bundesjugendleiterin und sie konnten wir hier verpflichten, für diese Prüfung als Richterin dabei zu sein. Unsere Sprecherin des Disziplinausschusses, Iris Gönig-Ruckaber, die beiden haben das hier gemacht, die Noten vergeben. Und ganz herzlichen Dank an das Team hier von Eventing Marbach, federführend unsere Anna Fecke und auch das Haupt- und Landgestüt Marbach, wo unsere Frau Astrid von Felsen und Zorek hier uns gastfreundlich aufgenommen hat. Und wenn ich jetzt schon den stellvertretenden Mann, der Berufsreiter, so in der Mitte der Damen sehe, bekommt er eine Verpflichtung. Was würdet ihr davon halten, wenn Markus Lemmle euch mal so unter die Fittiche nimmt? Irgendwann ein Herbstlehrgang hier in Marbach mit Markus Lemmle. Wärt ihr dafür? Markus, du hast nur eine Chance, du kannst nur Ja sagen.
Kriegen wir hin.
Okay, versprochen. Okay, so, jetzt testen wir, ob ihr noch fit seid. Eine Runde Ehrenrunde unter eurem Applaus der Zuschauer und Musik bitte. So, bitte einmal von Ihrer Antwort Gabi westlich in die Bahn bitte. Und ich gebe das Mikrofon einfach weiter an Janine Hofer aus Ottenhöfen.
So, ihr Kinder, wollt ihr mal kurz hier bleiben? Ganz kurz. So, ihr Lieben, ich verspreche, ich fasse mich auch mal kurz, anders als sonst. Conny, vielen, vielen, vielen Dank. Du bist für uns die Mutter der Landesschärpe. Wir wissen natürlich, ganz viele Hände stehen hinten dran, ne? Ganz viele helfende Hände, aber du hast so viel getan für unsere Kinder, die heute hier stehen und so glücklich sind. Und dafür würden wir dir gern auch eine Schärpe überreichen. Aber selbstverständlich dürfen wir auch unsere Gabi nicht vergessen, die ganz großartigen Einsatz geleistet hat, mit den Kindern abgeritten ist, ganz toll mit Rat und Tat zur Seite gestanden hat, tolle Vorbereitungslehrgänge gemacht hat. Liebe Gabi, vielen, vielen Dank. Das war's schon.
Mal sehen, ob die Trainer so fit sind. Wir müssen einfach mehr klatschen. So, okay, das waren die Jüngsten der Jungen, die anderen sind schon verabschiedet. Ich glaube, die Hausherrin hat das letzte Wort. Ich wünsche alles Gute.
Vielen herzlichen Dank an Sie alle, die noch ausgeharrt haben. Toll, dass Sie die für so gute Stimmung gesorgt haben. Kommen Sie alle gut nach Hause und vor allen Dingen kommen Sie wieder nach Marbach. Das ist ganz wichtig. Und die Kinder vor allen Dingen mit den Pferden und ihren Eltern und dem Helferteam und allen Offiziellen und vor und hinter den Kulissen. Vorneweg Anna Fecke. Vielen, vielen Dank. Es war toll.